All right, we are here in the section that says how to apply the stakeholder management technique. So what is stakeholder management? So stakeholders are individuals, teams, or organizations that have interests in or concerns relative to the outcome of the architecture. So what does this mean? So within the whole, size of your organization, let's say your company has 10,000 employees. Not all 10,000 people should have any kind of influence or even interested in your architecture and your designs. So you're going to basically be able to hand pick out 20 or 30 representatives of different teams and departments, both senior and junior, to cover all those sort of bases within the different business interests. So within those 20 people, those are stakeholders. Those are people who have either interests or concerns about your architecture. And then stakeholder management is the process by which you try to make everybody happy, despite there being some conflicting interests sometimes. So even within a group of 20 or 30 people, and that's just a number that may or may not represent the size of your organization, but even within that group, some people are going to want their concerns to be the primary problem that you're trying to fix, and other people are going to be pushing. They're going to say that those concerns are not as important and you should be trying to fix that other problem. Some people are going to want a more centralized system. Some people are going to want a more distributed system. There are going to be interests that are conflicting, and you can't make all the people happy all the time, as they say. So, but you're going to try to find that solution that is in the best interest of the business, takes everyone's concerns into account. And TOGAF has this stakeholder management technique. So one thing you need to know, and you may already know this, is if you don't manage these stakeholders effectively, the project themselves can fail. And what I mean by this is if you lose the confidence of the head of the IT department, or you lose the confidence of the head of an important business unit, they're going to stop supporting you. They're going to stop, letting their people spend time talking to you. They're going to resist these types of changes. They're going to throw up roadblocks in your way. So it becomes a very political situation. So you really need to follow a proper process of communication, of soliciting feedback, of getting approvals, getting things written down clearly and getting sign-offs and all those other things that basically allow people to feel like their input is being heard and acted on. As I just said, if you lose support of somebody that's key, then once the head of IT loses confidence in you, then maybe even the, executives above him, the VPs, are going to start to lose confidence because these people are high up in the organization for a reason. Now, you as an architect can't enforce the entire organization to change its direction or to go into a new direction. So you need to sort of build this support, and you need to come up with this plan that everyone thinks is the best possible plan. So this is why stakeholder management really is one of those keys to, getting your plan sold through and getting it implemented. So the TOGAF stakeholder management technique involves, one, identifying who these players are. Number two, classifying them. You got to know if they're senior or junior, whether they're important or not important. Determine a stakeholder management approach, and so TOGAF does provide, one approach, and we'll get into that next slide. And finally, you're going to tailor certain deliverables to these people. So if you're talking to people who are business people who understand finances and numbers, and they're senior business people in the organization, you're going to have certain deliverables that speak to them, and you maybe not bring the technical and detailed deliverables to them. But when you're talking to the head of IT, there's going to be IT specific deliverables that you're going to be talking to him about. It's going to be his main concerns. So different deliverables to different audiences. Now in the TOGAF model, you'll see that you're basically classifying the stakeholders based on their power. So can they throw up roadblocks, or their complaints are going to be important or not, and the level of interest. And by level of interest, it means, someone might You might be designing an architecture that directly impacts their department, and you're going to be, shutting down some business and adding up some business and moving things around. That's a very high level of interest. But somebody who, is just minorly interested, whose life isn't really going to change, maybe there's some sort of indirect impact, but it's not really the purpose of what your project is, then that's more of a low level of interest. And so as you can see, if somebody, they may be an important person in the company, but if they're not really directly impacted by it, then you just have to sort of, that's the C level, right? Keep them satisfied, versus people who are key players, high power, and also as directly impacts them. Then you're basically going to have to get their sign off and get the approvals and get their total support. So that's the stakeholder management technique. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the TOGAF content meta model. Stay tuned.